Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So most of you know me already, but my name is Eve Zeiler, and I work as a clinical researcher here at True North Health Foundation. And my passion is food, and I love food, preparing food and eating. So I always enjoy my food. So today we actually make a creamy, nice cake. We call it, I don't know, maybe we should find a name for it, but I call it lime cream cake for now.
That'll work.
We'll see.
Sounds
So
good.
we have, and I'm gonna make it raw. So I'm raw vegan since 4 years, and I don't cook my food. I don't bake it. I do dry a little bit, but it's all gonna be raw today. So we have avocados, we have limes, bananas, raisins, dates. We have some blueberries. Make it glaze for the topping, and then we have dried coconut, dried bananas. I dried bananas yesterday. Maybe I'll get some out here so you can see them better.
You dry the skins too? You dry the skins?
No. Oh wow, it's really strong scent, like bananas. You don't want to have it too banana scented, and you might want to use something else. That's maybe a cup of dried bananas. I think I used about, how many did I use? We have to count them then. So those are, I just put them yesterday in my dehydrator, and 110 Fahrenheit or 120. You need to put your dehydrator a little bit up in the temperature. It's not gonna make the food that temperature.
105?
I put it on 120, I think.
Does that mean it's still raw? I thought
Yeah.
if it was over 105, it was not.
105, yeah, but if you put the dehydrator on 120, the food's not gonna be 120.
I see.
It's a little bit less. It's
I
always
see.
like 30 degrees, maybe less. So I put them there overnight and peeled them.
Did you cut them in half?
Yeah, I cut them in half, that's true. So they dry better actually. But they're not completely dry. They're still soft. If you dry them longer, they will be very chewy and very hard. So it's hard to use. You can still use them. You can also blend the very dry ones with the fresh ones. So I don't know if they are still soft enough or if I need some bananas, some fresh bananas. So we'll see. Then I also have some carob powder. Do you know carob? It's kind of like chocolate. This is a variety that's very light. It's raw from Australia. If they roast them, they kind of enhance the chocolate flavor more. But this is less chocolatey. That's not roasted. That's raw. And it's also from Australia, so it's a little bit lighter. But carob also grows here in California even. It has pods. I should bring a carob maybe. So it grows on the tree like pods, and it has some very hard seeds inside. And you use the pods and make a powder of it. And then I have some dried figs here too. And I have psyllium husk. You know psyllium husk?
Yes.
Did you use them with water or you drink them? So usually
I add them to things.
oh, you add them to things to
Yeah.
fix it, yeah. Usually, I mean, people prescribe it for digestive issues, and so, but you usually mix it in water and then you drink it. My mom actually likes it, but usually nobody likes that.
Is it kind of like nutritional yeast?
No, it's just basically fiber. So it's a plant. It's similar like the wheat plantain. You know the wheat, and the seed has a hole around it. And this is just the whole. It's basically just 100% fiber.
I think it's considered prebiotic, which is why
Yes.
I think it, yeah.
It's also prebiotic because the bacteria like it. We can digest it, so we don't digest it, but the bacteria they break it down. And yeah, so it's basically just fiber. Anything else I want to say about it? And oh yeah, the properties. So it thickens your dishes up like chia seeds or flax seeds. It makes it more slimy. If you want it slimy. No, but I use it actually to thicken it up to make it more soft. And if you mix it with banana, it also makes it fluffy and floury, so it's pretty good. Okay, so how do we start now? Let's
What's
start.
that white bag right there?
This is coconut, dried coconut. I don't know if I use it, but if you want to use coconut flakes. So I have also here, so what do I have here? So I have a chopper, which is pretty similar like a food processor, just in small. So you have the glass bowl here and then the knives here. And then I have a blender, a high-speed blender. So in case we want to use dried coconut, it's still very flaky and not really nice to use. You can use the blender if it's dry. So this blender here actually is wet. So it needs to be super, super dry if you want to make flour. You can definitely use the blender, but I'm going to use this because this is now dry and make some coconut flour out of dried coconut. Maybe use maybe 3/4 of a cup. Use not so much. It's very high in fat. And since we use avocado today too, so that will be also high in fat. So, but I'm still not sure if I actually want to use it. But I'm just going to show you how to make the flour. So I just put it in my chopper in high speed. The chopper is not going to be so efficient like the blender, but it's kind of more floury now. I do this first because I want this to be dry. And okay, let's start with the crust. So there are different ways to make a crust. So usually, maybe you've heard of, many people just use nuts and dates. And then you just blend them together and you have a crust. You can, well, I soaked the nuts here yesterday overnight, so they're soaked. Usually people don't even soak them, and it's probably better if they're a little bit drier. But I like to soak them. They're much more digestible.
Hopefully they let out the enzymes.
Yeah, and then the enzymes are activated in the nuts as well. So I don't mind the water. If it's too sticky and too wet for me, I'm just going to use the psyllium. And that makes it even more fluffy and nicer, I think. And you have more water and less concentrated fat. So we can use this and dates as a crust. We can use, we can also use
almonds. Sorry.
almonds, yeah. You can use walnuts too, any kind of nuts. We can also,
Yeah,
Pecans.
pecans are good too, yeah. And then we can also use dried coconut and dates as a crust. We can use the dried bananas and the almonds as well. We can use the dried bananas and the coconut, or we can only use dried bananas as well. So even you don't even need a food processor. If you have the dried bananas and you stick them together, you put them in your dish, and you stick them like this together, you press them a little bit down, you already have a crust, and they're very floury already. So that's what we can do. There's so many different ways what you can do. And we can also use the dried bananas and psyllium if they're not dry enough. So we can also use figs, dried figs. Let me put them here so you can see them. Those I bought, but you can also make your own dried figs. But they have these seeds. They're good for frosting, the glaze as well. But yeah, how should we make the crust for a cream pie? So the cream will be avocados and lime juice and dates. And then the glaze on top will be blueberries, and I think I'm gonna use just raisins as a glaze. The blueberries, if you blend them, they thicken up very much. Have you ever blended just blueberries
Mm-mm.
and then left them for a while? You did? They thicken up, right?
Yeah,
They're really thick. You don't need anything, any gelatin or
Yeah, no,
for sure not, or agar-agar.
Yeah, I love blueberries.
So we only take the blueberries and some raisins, and this will thicken it up even more. If you don't have blueberries, if you have strawberries or cherries, you can also use the psyllium husk. But I'm gonna also use the psyllium husk for the avocado cream. And since the psyllium is a little bit, I always buy the whole psyllium, so I can see what's actually in there. I like to avoid buying powder, so I want to see what's in there.
Mm.
And then make my own powder like I did with the coconut in the blender.
So what do you look for? More brand, more color, more?
No, I just want to see it whole, so I see that there's nothing else in there.
Oh, like what?
Like fillers or
Oh.
Chaff.
or fecal matter from rodents. That's happening too.
Oh,
If you
sure,
buy it
sure.
from the industry, it's happening a lot. So they kind of just powder everything and give it to you here. So, well, usually it shouldn't happen, but definitely you just see more here what's in there. If it's like there's some contamination in there or something. Okay, but since I want to have it a little bit for this cream, especially if you use the whole husk, they might not dissolve well, and you have those bits in there. And also for the glaze, if you need it, if you don't use blueberries. So I powder it, and if you powder it, you don't see it that much. So that's why the powder is a good way too. So any ideas how we're gonna make the crust? You like bananas?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's start with the bananas. How many bananas do I have here? Actually, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, approximately 6 or 7 bananas. I probably should have taken more. It's not. It doesn't look that much actually. So we'll see.
Does that dehydrating them intensify the flavor?
It will change the flavor. They're definitely different. They're definitely also more sweeter, but also the texture is more floury. So. As I said, we could just use the bananas and press them down, or we can make a more like a. Use the gloves now. And as I see, they are still pretty wet, so we might want to use any kind of flour. So maybe we should use the coconut, or we can also use psyllium. You can leave it like that, but we don't have a lot of bulk, so maybe I'll use the coconut. We use half of it. Maybe that's probably one third of a cup. We don't want to make it too fatty. And I also use a little bit of psyllium. Maybe 1 tablespoon. Oh yeah, it's 1 teaspoon. Maybe 2 teaspoons of the whole. Now we actually have a dough that's a little bit more workable. be a little bit drier to work. It's one dough that we have for our crust. Oh, it's hard with those gloves. Okay, but there's a different way. Let's try the almonds as well. So I soaked them in water yesterday night and I washed them and rinsed them. The water was very dark. Every time you soak nuts, you see the water's really.
Add a little bit of cup.
There was 3/4 of a cup. Dried. Dried almonds, 3/4 of a cup.
Oh.
And then if I soak them, they expand a little bit more. And we can maybe use raisins. You can use dates, but I don't have too many dates, so I'm gonna use the raisins for the crust. 3/4 of a cup almonds, and then probably usually you use like half and half. Maybe more, well, half a cup of raisins maybe, to make it too sweet. Takes a while with this. Okay, this is now also a different way to make a crust. I didn't put sodium in here, but it's fine enough. It's not that wet. It's pretty dry actually. I didn't put a lot of raisins. You can make it sweeter as you like it, but.
Is that a separate crust from the other one you just mixed in?
Yeah, the other one I have here. This is just almonds and raisins, and this is the crust that we made before. I don't know which crust we take yet. Maybe you decide which crust we should use. Or we can also do half and half, and then we can
You
see.
can taste the difference.
You can taste the difference. That actually smells really good. Almonds. And if you don't want to make a crust, you can also make little balls. Like this here. Oops, sorry. So you have almond raisin balls.
So when you mix and match all these different things for a crust, do you like use 3 things, or does it not even matter? You just, or 4, can you use up to 4 things?
For the crust?
Crust,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can also mix it up if you want to. I don't like to mix too many things together.
Right.
That's my secret to keep it, because all of the ingredients, they taste good by themselves. If I mix too much together, then it might happen that it doesn't taste good anymore. So that's my secret. I don't mix too much, so it will always taste good. Okay, so we have 2 different kinds of crusts. We can also make a crust with the figs, but yeah, we'll leave that. So we decide now what we're gonna do for the cake, or should we do half and half?
Half and half.
Half and half.
still very moist, but I assume that it'll thicken up with the psyllium and fill them up.
Psyllium, doesn't it expand? Doesn't it expand?
It will also both, yeah, it will also expand. Then you just take your crust and you press it down on your glass dish.
White glass dish. White glass, doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's actually good that we do two crusts because I didn't have enough dried bananas, I guess, for the whole cake. Although you can make it very thin crust. Then either you go a little bit up with your crust here, or you leave it like that. You know, you leave it flat. You can also do a crust on the end of the cake. So we put it up a little bit. And then yeah, you don't have to bake it. I mean, why would you not bake it? I mean, there's nothing in there that needs to be heat treated. Like eggs, maybe I'll do that. Oh, I forgot the carob. I could have also put carob in there, like here, for example. So you put this in. Yeah, you can also put carob in your crust. Makes it also drier, actually. So then the other half, we just use our almonds with raisins. Because I'm wondering, the banana have a strong flavor, probably. I don't know how well it fits with a lime cake. But we do only use really good ingredients, so nothing can go wrong. Even if you stop with this, you know, that's already good. Good enough. Just make sure you have it flat enough and then also even. It smells good already, doesn't it? Do you smell it? I find it smells better than a baked cake. It's more subtle and really nice. So we have our crust here. One half is almonds and raisins, the other half is the dried bananas with coconut and some psyllium. Let's see what happens with it. Okay, and we also have these bowls here. You can also mix some other bowls with the rest. So you can also taste the. Yeah, you already have some bowls here too, you know? You can also use
Those are just for snacking, right?
for snacking. Yeah. can also try those just by itself. We're gonna make a little sweet. Okay, and then we'll go over to the creamy part. So the creamy part also you can use avocados. You can use nuts and seeds, walnuts, almonds, macadamia. And then also for thickening, many raw vegans use, well, in the raw restaurants, they use oil, coconut oil to thicken it, the cream, to make it, so they put it in the fridge so it gets harder. But of course I'm not going to use oil, so instead of oil, it doesn't look pretty, but it's okay. Instead of oil, I use my psyllium as thickener. And it makes it even more delicious, I find. It's not that heavy like oil, so you actually enjoy it also better.
Do you cook with coconut oil at all,
No.
or no? Yeah, yeah.
I don't use it. I was saying we still can make a cream cheesecake even without the oil. Okay, so yeah, you can use avocado, you can use any nuts and seeds, or you can also use young coconut. It's really good for cream cake. It's really good too. But we have avocados today. Well, it's a nice avocado. Last time I used 2 big avocados, so maybe we'll use 3 avocados. 3 small ones. Oh, this one doesn't look good. That's why I brought some more avocados in case. This looks good too. Or maybe just 2.5. Really depends how big your avocados are too. Yeah, I don't like to use any brown of the avocado, even though I mix it in and you don't see it, but it will ruin your taste. Brown avocados do not taste good, even if you blend them with chocolate. I've seen that when they someone made. They were very proud. They were saying, "Oh, I used my brown avocados and I just made a chocolate pudding." Don't invite me to eat chocolate pudding with you. Oh my God, this is a nightmare. And that's why I'll peel them this way, because then I can really see that there's some brown on between the skin and the avocado. Here, that was a little bit brown, so I'm going to cut this off here. Okay, so we have let's put our avocado in the blender. I think I'm just going to use this up because I don't want to leave it here. So I use 3 avocados. It's gonna be a lot. But maybe we don't use everything for the cake. Maybe just use it as a pudding too. Should have brought some napkins for me. So then for sweetness we use our dates. So I use 6 dates for that. Careful with the stones, always count your stones and your dates. Sometimes you throw away the date and then put the stone. Definitely don't want that to happen. Because the blender will blend a stone, but you can chew that it will have the grits and it's horrible. Once in a lifetime it happens to everyone maybe, but
Did you soak the dates?
no, I didn't. Those are medjool dates and they're very soft. If you have drier dates, then you might want to soak them, but these are soft enough. So 6 dates in here, and then of course the lime juice. Because you can also use, instead of lime juice, you can use carob and make a chocolate cake. But we are making lime. So I have to juice them. Maybe make use. I think last time I used 4 limes, but you can use more or less, depending on your preference. Very hard to juice. It's too hard to juice here. So I'm just gonna use a spoon. That's how my mom always does it. And they don't have any seeds. So you can just do it like this.
Is that a special kind of lime that doesn't have seeds?
Oh yeah, the limes never have seeds.
Well, they don't have, they never.
Do they?
I never noticed, I never noticed, I guess
Oh.
they don't.
I never seen them with
Okay.
seeds. Sometimes it's easier to use a spoon for this, especially if they're so hard.
Do you ever put lime zest in there?
You could, but since I know that limes are, I don't know if they're actually organic, so I'm not gonna put this in here. Sometimes it's hard to find limes organic. And then even if they're organic, they treat them sometimes with vegetable wax. So that's why if I have my own, probably you can have your own tree and then you can use a little bit of lime zest.
Sprouts have organic lime.
But then again, are they treated with vegetable wax or?
How many ounces of lime juice are you going for?
I'm gonna tell you how much I have. I don't know yet. This is not half a cup. This is. I can't even see it. That's a third of a cup.
Do you feel like that's enough?
Yeah, maybe it's enough. We'll see. So I used about 3 limes. Last time I used 4 limes. We'll see. I'm just gonna taste it and then see.
That's a good house.
Okay, this definitely helps now. Okay, so you want to first blend the the avocado, the lime juice, and the dates. Makes it really thick. Isn't that delicious already? I'm gonna taste it. Let's see. It is really good, but I think it won't hurt to put another lime in there. Or maybe even two.
So maybe more like a half a cup of lime juice, you think, or?
There was
Because limes vary, you know what I mean? Like, limes are different sizes.
yeah, that's true. I had 1/3 of a cup, I said. Yeah, 1/2 of a cup. Yeah, why not? But it's always, you always have to taste it. Because sometimes the avocados have a different taste.
Right.
They're not that flavorful, so everything will be different. So it doesn't really make
Doesn't
sense to. I mean, it doesn't make sense to just go strict after a recipe. You just have to be a little bit flexible, and also if you don't have an ingredient, you might want to use something else. So yeah, maybe half a cup. And then maybe you would like it more limey. So it's also your preference. Put some more lime juice in there. Yeah, it's really thick already. You might want to, sometimes you need a little bit of water to blend it more creamy, but we don't need that. Okay, now we have that cream here. Oops. Ah, it doesn't come up. It's really good. So you're already done here having a nice pudding, creamy dessert. You can layer it with bananas maybe, layer this, bananas, this again, or make a syrup out of the blueberries and layer it, have a nice pudding. But we're going to continue with the cake. So to make it more thick even, it's really thick already, so. But now the psyllium comes in. So I used 1 tablespoon of psyllium, of the ground psyllium actually. So that this will blend it much better than the whole. And this makes our cake really thick.
Is that a tablespoon?
It's a tablespoon of ground psyllium. And I put it last because if I would have put it already at the beginning, it's harder to blend. It already thickens up. So I have it all blended, creamy, and then this goes last to make it thick. Oops. do need a little bit of water, maybe sometimes to just blend it in a little bit better. But I didn't use it this time, so we'll see. Okay, that's our cream, and we can put it on our crust. I think it should be. Hopefully I blended it all in properly. Yeah, you have to be careful when you can't really blend it well enough, then the psyllium might not be mixed in properly. So it's good to use some water. It's already really thick. Or use less psyllium. It's gonna be a cake.
Kind of like a bowl.
Yeah, I know. Should have had a better spatula maybe. I think we're gonna have a really thick cake, even though we don't put it in the fridge for a while. It's already really thick. Last time I don't think I had a tamper. I have a blender without a tamper, so I used a little bit of water to blend it all in, and then a little trick at the end I put the psyllium in. Oh, very messy. Oops. Okay, now we have our cream. It's good that we see the crust a lot in here. Yeah, this is the almond crust here.
I think it's interesting that you mix the sweet with the sour for this cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of an avocado cake before.
Yeah, and avocado with dates, and then the carob or chocolate. Even if you use cacao, it just tastes like a chocolate cream.
Oh, really?
And then you wouldn't put lime juice in, but instead of the lime juice, you can use the carob or cacao. It's really thick already. The psyllium made it really thick.
Yeah. If you don't use, if you use the carob, what do you use for the liquid?
Oh yeah, water. You can use water. Okay. I think I need to rinse out the blender. I don't mind a little bit in here. And for my glaze, I'm gonna rinse it out. This is a nice creamy milk. That is really delicious. Sorry, I need to rinse it out a little bit more. You can also put a banana in here, and so you have a smoothie while you do the cake. Yeah, I don't really like to waste anything, so this is what really delicious. I just cleaned up the blender and I have a nice creamy milk. No, I don't need to buy anything from the store in the package, nut milks or anything. I just clean up my blender. It's really messy today here. Sorry about that. Okay, so our glaze. So I'm gonna use blueberries. Organic blueberries. I'm gonna take it too. I'm late today. Okay, and then some raisins. Or maybe dates. Maybe we do dates. We still have some dates.
This is the glaze, right?
Yeah.
How many dates?
3 dates, and this is half a pint. 6
Yeah.
ounces. 12 ounces of blueberries, and then 3 dates. And that's I can also use blueberries too. It's not that much actually. Let's see. Last time I used cherries. 1 cup and 3 to 4. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's pretty quick.
Oh, wow.
This is on my blueberry syrup, and then it's pour it over, and it will thicken up over time. I don't know if it will while we're here. Let's see. Probably will not thicken up while we're here. Yeah, you should keep this now in the fridge. It's really messy today. Oops. It's getting even messier. Okay, so that's our cake. You would keep it in the fridge for an hour. You just let it chill so the blueberries also can get thicker. But well, we're gonna try it now, right? So we don't have the time to wait. I'm just figuring out where the almond crust is. This is almond crust. So here, from here, I'm gonna cut it from here.
Right?
I know. Yeah, it's going nuts. as I said, it's really hard to get the cake out right away. It really needs to stay in the fridge.
Yeah.
So,
Well, how many people are gonna have now? Couple, one, two, how many, one, two, any
Do
more?
you deliberately torture fasting inmates?
oh, it's not that bad. Look. Well, the glaze went over the cake completely, but
Yeah.
like the cake looks in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
You really make someone want to keep it on fast.
Yeah.
Visual
Silly. Us.
You see it?
Yeah, it's great, it's a beautiful color.
So that's a big piece of cake. Should I just eat it in front of you?
There's
Yeah, please do.
two people here that will
Yeah, there's some
give us a testimony.
So this is how it. It's pretty good, and I mean only the glaze is not hard yet,
Uh-huh.
but this is how it.
Oh, that tastes delicious.
Better go get your plate.
I grab a piece and run, I got 11 o'clock sandwiches.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Are you
I
fasting?
bring a plate of it. Have at it.
Yeah, so it's not super sweet, and the lime gives it a really tangy, cheesy flavor for us. Like cheese texture. So it's tangy. Thank you. You're welcome. So that was actually with almonds.
Doesn't matter, either one.
Thank you.
No, I'm not talking about